This week in Jamaica Now.
It's either that the IC is turning against itself or that you have a situation here that is exposing itself as being a matter of corruption.
Government MPs demand certification of Prime Minister Andrew Holness's income and assets. Jamaica will not be a developed nation by 2030.
But hear what? Jamaica is doing the best out of all the Caribbean countries.
A woman confesses to the throat-slashing murder of an 8-year-old schoolgirl, and a vendor pleads not guilty after urinating in a bottle in a market in St. James. I'm Jovan Johnson, and this is Jamaica Now. This week, government lawmakers on Parliament's Integrity Commission Oversight Committee voted against a motion to send an investigation report on the financial affairs of Prime Minister Andrew Holness to the agency investigating financial crimes in Jamaica. Opposition member Julian Robinson surprised the committee on Tuesday with the motion that backed a call by the Integrity Commission for Parliament to support the matter being referred to the Financial Investigations Division, FID. The Commission says it cannot certify the Prime Minister's income declarations for 2021 until the FID conducts its work.
And whereas the Director of Investigations has indicated that he is unable to make a final conclusion on the question of illicit enrichment, due in part to the refusal of the Prime Minister to share with the Integrity Commission a breakdown of his expenses for the reference period of the investigation. And whereas it is untenable for this cloud of uncertainty to remain over the head of government, be it resolved that the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee supports the recommendation of the Integrity Commission for the matter to be referred to the Financial Investigation Division.
The motion was supported by Mr. Robinson's opposition colleague Philip Paulwell, but government members were at one in rejecting the motion, arguing that the Commission should have worked with the FID and Tax Administration Jamaica before submitting its investigation report. Pernell Charles Jr., who is also the Labour Minister, charged that the IC made prejudicial statements in its investigation report that was released by Parliament on September 17.
It is highly inappropriate, in my view, for an investigation to be completed and for there to now be an effort to redetermine the matter. Section 7 of the Integrity Commission Act speaks directly to cooperation between other bodies and agreement and arrangements, and it allows the Commission in the performance of its functions to cooperate with any person or body that it may deem appropriate, including those bodies that it is now seeking to redetermine this matter, that it itself has concluded. It's either that the IC is turning against itself or that you have a situation here that is exposing itself as being a matter of corruption.
And Justice Minister Delroy Chalk says the Integrity Commission should be ordered to certify the Prime Minister's declarations. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee, Edmund Bartlett, has chided Julian Robinson for bringing the motion to the committee's meeting. He said the FID has already disclosed that it is in possession of the referral and related documents from the Integrity Commission. Mr. Bartlett asserted that the motion was improperly brought and amounted to an abuse of the process. Now, the 5 commissioners of the Integrity Commission and its directors are to appear before the committee on October 3. Meanwhile, the People's National Party has raised concerns about the circumstances surrounding the impending appointment of a new head for the Financial Investigations Division, especially given the Integrity Commission's ongoing probe into Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The FID's head is appointed by the Finance Minister. The Prime Minister Andrew Holness is due to appoint a new Finance Minister to replace Dr. Nigel Clark, who will leave office next month. On September 24, PNP spokesman Peter Bunting raised the issue at a forum of party officials, which they called the People's Parliament.
The FID right now does not have a permanent chief technical director, I believe the post is called, or technical director. The head of the FID was Selvin Hay, who retired a couple of months ago. So it only has an acting head now. So there is not even any security of tenure for who is there. So the Minister of Finance is going to be very carefully selected. Let me just say that. We can expect that he or she will be very carefully selected. But I think the public is right to be concerned. I think any well-thinking person would be concerned. You cannot investigate yourself, or you cannot oversee those who are investigating you. That's just a basic principle. And we've seen over and over again where persons, whether in the private or public sector, that find themselves in such a position have to step aside to allow the investigation to be complete.
The Integrity Commission did 2 investigations concerning the 2021 income declarations, which Prime Minister Andrew Holness submitted on time in March 2022. The first probe, from September 2022 to February 2023, involved Mr. Holness's failure to declare 4 bank accounts, a process that stalled the full examination of the declaration. The Director of Corruption Prosecutions ruled out criminal charges, saying there was not enough evidence to mount a viable prosecution. The second probe, from May 2023 to August this year, followed a full examination of the 2021 declarations. The Commission said it was unable to determine whether Mr. Holness should face prosecution for illicit enrichment because he allegedly refused to provide details on his personal expenses. Additionally, there are unresolved questions, the Commission says, surrounding over $473 million worth of transactions involving companies connected to Mr. Holness. There are also questions about whether companies tied to him are tax compliant and the use of charity funds to buy a personal asset. Mr. Holness has denied any wrongdoing, but the opposition has insisted that he should resign as head of government. In other news, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has confirmed that the Vision 2030 timeline for Jamaica to be seen as a developed country will not be met. He made the disclosure on September 21 at a town hall meeting with Jamaicans in the United States.
We have been doing very well on our development goals. We have done an assessment, and we're not going to hit developed country status by 2030. But hey, hear what? Jamaica is doing the best out of all the Caribbean countries. The question of Jamaica becoming a developed country is something that I have to confront every day. And every day we're making steps towards becoming a developed country. But there is a struggle. There is a real struggle in our country.
Dental assistant Coyote Satchel has pleaded guilty to the stabbing death of 80-year-old Daniel Rowe in June last year, a murder that sparked national outrage. Miss Satchel was also convicted of child stealing for taking Daniel from Brayton Primary and Infant School in St. Catherine. One of her attorneys, Pierre Rogers, told the Home Circuit Court on September 24 that he intends to make a plea for leniency with the sentence. Young Daniel, who was a second-grade student, was abducted on June 8 last year. She was later seen that day with her throat slashed on Roosevelt Avenue in St. Andrew. She was rushed to hospital and died 2 days later. The post-mortem revealed that Daniel died from a wound to the neck. And the school community at Vere Technical High in Clarendon is mourning the tragic loss of a first-form student who was hit by a bus in Kemps Hill District in the parish on September 24. She has been identified as 11-year-old Marla Richards from the Lionel Town community. The police say she was crossing the road near her home when she was reportedly hit by a Toyota Hiace bus. In a statement, the school said another student was injured in a separate incident after she was hit by a taxi near the school gate on Tuesday. Denise Adams, the vendor who was caught in a viral video urinating in a container and then pouring it into a bottle at the Charles Gordon Market in St. James, has pleaded not guilty to breaching the public health food handling regulations. She is to return to court on October 23. And Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald has been sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his wife. Oscar Barnes, who carried out the act, has also received a life sentence. They will each have to serve 28 years and 11 months before being eligible for parole. Mr. MacDonald, a 70-year-old businessman, was also sentenced to 4 years and 6 months imprisonment for conspiracy, while the 33-year-old Tyler, Mr. Barnes, was sentenced to 6 years and 6 months for conspiracy. The men were both found guilty in March of the murder of Tonya MacDonald. The 32-year-old woman's partially burnt body was found on a deserted road in Sherwood Forest in Portland in July 2020. It had 9 stab wounds and the throat was slashed. Contract killer Denverlin Minot, who is serving 19 years in prison for his role in the murder, had testified for the prosecution, saying that Beachy Stout hired him to kill his wife for $3 million, but that he passed on the work to Mr. Barnes. Lady Patricia Golding, the mother of opposition leader Mark Golding, died on September 26. She was 92. Lady Patricia was a career public servant. She was married to pioneering orthopedic surgeon Sir John Golding, and they had 2 children. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has expressed condolences to Mr. Golding. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, a group of students from the George Headley Primary School, the Tech Titans, are seeking your help to compete overseas at the World Robot Olympiad. Here's their story.
It is a newly founded club. It started this year, 2024, and we entered the competition a bit late because we didn't know about the competition, and we entered with 6 kids under 12, and they work assiduously in completing the task, which is the robot that we have here.
Just to clarify, what competition is this?
It is the World Robotic Olympiad, WRO for short, and it took place at the AC Hotel earlier this year. The competition, basically, the theme was Earth Allies, so we had to create a robot that fit into that theme that was beneficial to helping the environment. What we did was we created a solar automated garden and also an autonomous fire truck. Now the solar garden is built with a microcontroller that acts as the brain for the entire system, that controls sensors such as the rain sensor, the soil moisture sensor, and pumps as well. So when it senses that the plant needs water, it will automatically turn on the pump to water the plant. It will also monitor the level of the water within the tank and also to give an alert when it's low. It also senses temperature, humidity, and it also have a solar panel. Well, the solar panel helps to reduce energy wastage. So the fire truck is built with a camera that automatically senses fire. It will drive to the location of the fire and extinguish the fire. And this is done without human intervention, so it's autonomous. Currently, it's very costly because the school is the one that takes on the traveling expenses, the hotel accommodation, and yes, and also finances the club. So we are seeking sponsors who are willing to come on to help to offset those costs. Going forward, we'd like to have like a steady sponsorship where we can have sponsors that we can put on our team shirt when we are going out to represent our country.